Okay, welcome back. Now that you've learned about commenting and you've seen my gibberish examples of what comments can be, and you've learned how to print something to the console, which for now you just wrote a sentence, but in the future we may be testing out various things there. Now that that's done, let's start actually building out an interface for this very simple first project of yours. So in order to do that, let's go to the main storyboard. Sometimes it's slow to load. Now you can zoom in and out by using your finger gestures on the pad, or if you want, you can use these buttons here. Let's go ahead and center whatever you want to do, but we're going to work it with this view controller object here. As you can see, it looks very strikingly similar to an iPhone screen because that does represent an iPhone screen. So what we're going to do in this lecture is add some labels and a button to this screen. So here on the right-hand side of Xcode, once you're in the main storyboard, down here in this little section here, you see 3 items. But if you scroll, there's a whole list of inventory here of things you can choose to add to your app. Xcode makes it very simple to just drag and drop certain items. And what you can do is also search in this little bar here. So why don't you go ahead and search for the word label. Go ahead and hit return, and label pops up. So now what you can do is click and hold your mouse and drag over into the project. Okay, so now we have a label added to our screen. Notice you can put it anywhere you want, but Xcode has these little guidelines which help center items and whatnot. So I'm going to just go ahead and put this label up a little bit higher, and I'm going to resize it here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this. I'm going to resize this label with these by clicking on those little white boxes. You can do anything you want here. Trust, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just showing you the example of what you can do. So I'm going to stretch out this label a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, make sure you're clicked on the label. It would be highlighted. And over here in this view controller hierarchy, you would see that it's highlighted here. We're going to go over to the right-hand menus here. Let's click on the attributes inspector, which is the 4th little menu in. And from here, there's a lot we can do to change this label. First of all, we can change the text. So let's just say, how about hello world? And if you hit enter, you'll see the text of label changes. You can go ahead and center it if you want, or any alignment. The font here, you can just make it larger or smaller depending on what you'd want. You could choose the font. If you wanted to, you can change the color of the text by clicking this little color item, and various different color menus pop up. I'm just going to go, how about with the blue? Okay, fine. Simple items like labels and whatnot. Mainly you're going to be using this attributes menu and also probably the connections menu, but just go ahead and browse through that menu, see all the different options that are available to you, and tinker around with what you can change, what you can't change, just so you get a little bit more familiar with this right-hand side menu section of the Xcode environment, especially in the storyboard. Next, let's go ahead and add a button to this app. So if you go down to the bottom right-hand side, you can X out of the label. All of the choices pop up again. Go ahead and search for button. Okay, once you've found the button, go ahead and click and hold and drag it in. I will also resize this a little bit. Okay, now it doesn't look like a typical button. It just looks like a text label, right? However, it's very different. It is a button, and you can change it to say whatever you want, of course. Let's just say, instead of button, I will call it my button. And you can change the text color and the background, of course. And however, if you make a custom image for your button, you can use an image here. We don't have any images in our project yet, so we can't use an image. So for now, we're going to stick with just the blue color text. And I will change the color to make it look more like a button. So scrolling down a bit, we can see there's a background. It's going to look terrible, but let's just make a green background with the blue text. Actually, might as well make this text color white just to make it a little bit better. Now it definitely looks more like a button. Okay, so now we have a label that says hello world, and we have a button added to the project. So let's go ahead and run that project. I'm going to hit Command R to run. And the simulator has run as expected. We have this is my first app ever sentence printed to the console, which no one else can see but you. And here's our simulated iPhone 7 with our label and our button. So if you click the button, you notice, you can definitely tell that you're clicking the button because the text on the button fades away as you're used to. However, nothing happens, and that is simply because, although we have a button in the project, we have not told Xcode what to do with that button and why it's even there. So that is exactly what we're going to do in the next lecture. We're going to hook up this button with what's known as an IB action. So let's go and do that next. I'll see you then.